Hi guys, welcome back to the Highland Valley Railway and welcome to 2018. I would like, as I stated in my little teaser that I did back in December, end of December, I'd like to start a new series this year, and we'll get straight into the meat of it. I am planning on calling this the rolling stock of the Highland Valley Railway. It's kind of a meet the fleet type of deal, except this is going to deal strictly with HO scale North American freight cars. If I can reference you back to my video of the 15th of August 2017, I'll put a link in the description. That one dealt with an introduction to operations on the Highland Valley Railway. The purpose of the railway, where the cars come from, where they go to, what purpose. So this is kind of a continuation on that. It'll show you what cars I've got, and as you see these cars throughout future videos, you'll know that they have a purpose. They have a reason for being. Made myself some notes, hoping I don't forget anything here. Okay, back in that video, back in August, I introduced you to my inventory system. I used the American Association of Railroads car designation system. The most up-to-date one that I have is the 1987 version, so getting quite out of date now. It is available on the internet, you can find it. It lists the cars that are in operation on real railways and the code given to them, so that when a business, an industry orders a car, you know, they know what they're getting. For instance, this little business back here, they deal strictly in food stuff. So they have to have clean box cars that are maintained clean lading only. They cannot be used to carry barrels of oil or you know, scrap metal or anything like that. They can only be used for clean lading. You might get food in there, you might get it stuffed full of boxes of toilet paper or something like that, but it's going to be clean. So I use that. So today, for no particular reason, on the rolling stock of the HVR, the Highland Valley Railway, we're going to take a look at my gondola stock. We're going to look at two or three different designations. There's the standard gondolas, which fit into GB, the designation GB. I've got 45 of those to look at today. I have 9 GBSR, which can also be called GBRS. I'll explain the differences as we go. We're going to take a look at my 2 and only 2 GBRs, and there's a funny little twist in that too that we'll get to see. And we're going to take a look at one of my 2 MWBs. So we'll take a look at that. So, what else have I got to say before we go any further? This series will not replace Trains on Tuesday. I still plan to do Trains on Tuesday on a regular basis. These will not be regular. They won't come out on Tuesday. They'll come out whenever I get around to shooting, you know, a little video on different car types. We're taking a look here today at about I don't know, 60 cars maybe. When we get into the category LO, which is covered hoppers, and XM, which is box cars, regular box cars, we are going to have massive amounts, well in excess of 100 of each type. Yeah, so perhaps once a month we'll take a look at some of the rolling stock of the HVR. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now my GB cars, regular gondolas, I have them in 40 foot, 50 foot, 52 foot 6 and 65 foot mill gons. So we're going to start along the front row here with the 40 foots. I have two Pennsylvania Railroad 40 foots there, both the same car. I have an Elgin, Joliet and Eastern, an Algoma Central, Baltimore and Ohio, another Baltimore and Ohio, this one in the Chesney system, so slightly more modern than the former one. British Columbia Railway, a low-sided one and a high-sided one. A Burlington Northern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CN ones, a CP one, and bringing up the end of the 40 foots, Ontario Northland. So that was the 40 foots. 40 foots in real life are almost a thing of the past. I cannot tell you when I last saw one. So we're now on to the 50 foots. 50 foots are still around, but we don't see them that often. Even they're getting replaced. So we start off with a Michigan Central Railroad, and we've got two of them, made by different manufacturers. The first one's a Lima, made in Italy, and the second one's an Athearn, built in the US. And do you think from those two manufacturers so far apart they could pick different numbers to put on the side? No, they both got exactly the same number on. Moving on, we have a Union Pacific, a second Union Pacific. Now this one was a really cheap car. It only says Union Pacific on it. There are no other reporting marks. I bought it as a project car. I was going to put high sides on it to convert it into a wood chip car. Never got around to it, and they're not around in real life anymore, so probably won't do anything much with that one. A black Canadian National. Now this one here, I gotta have a look and see what this one is. Believe it or not, with reporting marks of CRLE, that is the Utah Central Railway Company. On to ITC, Illinois Terminal Connecting Railway, I believe that one was. A Burlington Northern. CB&Q, the Burlington route. CB&Q is the Chicago, Burlington and Quincy. And I have two of those. They're both the same. They are Lima models. A CP and a Denver and Rio Grande Western and a Reading Railroad. Now the Reading and the Denver Rio Grande, they're interesting cars. The Association of American Railroads, back around the turn of the 20th century, around 1900, decided that gondolas, because of the rough work that they often did, they should all be made out of steel. And they were, until the First World War came along, and then they had to revert back to wood. Again, when World War II came along, there was such a shortage of steel that this design that you're looking at here, with outside bracing angle iron, was approved as a temporary measure. So they've got wooden sides, wooden floors, and there were about 8,000 of those built during World War II. So we move on to the 52 foot 6. Now quite a few of these are still out and about on the lines. We do see them quite often. So we start off with an Elgin, Joliet and Eastern. Move on down to a Railgon, reporting marks GONX. That belongs to the TTX company, formerly the Trailer Train Company. Moving on down, Grand Trunk Western, a GVSR, that's the Galveston Railroad. And if you remember back to the teaser, I showed you some cars, or told you that I'd had to build some cars in order to do this video. Well, here's the first one, or one of the first ones anyway. Kansas City Southern. Purchased that in 05 and built it in 17. This is going to be an interesting one to say. Patapsco and Back Rivers Railroad. That one I bought in 09. That is a Proto 2000 kit. That one and the Père Marquette. Bought those two on the same day. Now they are top-notch kits. They've got every single piece of brake rigging, hand grabs, everything on them. And I got those for $3.50 a piece back in 09. Good deal. Moving on, CP Rail with Sioux Line reporting marks. Sioux is a railroad south of Winnipeg, I believe. And wholly owned by CP Rail. That's another one that I had to build for this series, and that one dates back to 1999 when I purchased that one. Wisconsin Southern, or Central, sorry, Wisconsin Central. Montana Rail Link, one of my nicest gondolas here, CN. This one's beautifully weathered. I have to admit I did not do the weathering myself on it, but lovely car. So that's it for the 52'6". Now as we move on to the 65-foot Milgons, I'd like to just mention that I'm going to put a poll up. It may be up in the top of the video right now, but somewhere throughout the video there will be a poll asking you if you would like to see more of this series. I'm not quite sure of the questions that I'll ask on it, but there'll be choices there if you could fill that out, or leave me a comment on the video as to whether you like this or not. So, a Burlington Northern drop end mill gondola, and the ends do drop on this particular car. It's a nice model. Another Burlington Northern. This is a waffle side. Nice great big CN one. Canadian Pacific. And finally, for 65-foot cars, gondola cars in the GB designation, I have an undecorated one. Now this was kit bashed by another modeler a long time ago, actually, probably back in the late 80s when this was done. Anyway, it just needs decals on it, and it's a good car, great to go. So that concludes GBs. So we're now going to get on to the GBRs and the GBSRs. So hang in there. Okay, on to the GBRs. Now, in the register, GBR stands for regular gondola, GB, and R means roof. This car is clearly marked as a GBR, but it came from the model manufacturer without. So if the roof's missing, is it a GBR or is it a GB? I don't know. There we go. There's another one. This one does have its roof on. There we go. So that's my two GBRs. Now here's the car that I showed you in the trailer. The one from the 11th of February 93 that I hadn't built until December 2017. It's a beautiful car. I should have had that going for 20 odd years. Just gorgeous car. So these are GBSR. Gondola, S for special service or specified service, and R, a roof. Now, the American Association of Railroads somehow managed to put these cars into two different designations. So that's a GBSR. The next one along is an identical car, other than it's Baltimore and Ohio, but it is clearly marked on the side FMS. I'm keeping it in the GBSRs. The next one, Chicago and Northwestern. Now I've got the roof sections off of this car so that you can see the coil loads. These cars are for steel coils. So there we go. Steel coil is loaded in. On down the line, another car the same type, Consolidated Rail Corporation, Conrail. Another one that I had to build for this series, Chesapeake and Ohio, almost identical to the Baltimore and Ohio one there. Another one I had to build, going back to '99, those two, Norfolk and Western. And I've got the tops off of that so you can see what it looks like inside. These cars were lined with wood sides for cushioning the steel coils and cushioning buffers, you might say, in between the coils. So that's what you see there. They do not look very much like a gondola car, but that's the designation for them. Okay, moving on. Slightly different car design here and a different roof design. So this one here is marked CPI or CP, maybe it's CP 1019, and the reporting mark on the end is FW and D, which is the Fort Worth and Dallas Railway, another CP subdivision, if you like, or wholly owned separate company. Detroit, Toledo and Ironton, another one there, and the last one I have of those is a CN one, and I've got the roof open so you can see the cable drums inside this one. They just close up like that. There we go. There we go. So that's the GBSRs or GBRS. Gondola, special service, roof. Now the final car we're going to look at in this video looks like a regular 40-foot gondola, and to all intents and purposes it is, but it's not. It's an MWB, and what makes it an MWB is that it is marked maintenance of way. So this is not a revenue car. Nobody could order up this car in revenue service and say, you know, I want to send a load of sugar beet somewhere, or a load of coal or whatever. They could not order this car up. It is strictly for the maintenance away department. It could be used to haul ties, sleepers, tie plates, spikes, rail. All sorts of stuff could be in there in maintenance of way use. So that concludes the gondolas in those categories. I have other gondolas in different categories, particularly GT, and that's a separate video because there's a lot of those. Okay, so hope you liked the video. Hope you like the concept. Please let me know, either through the poll or through comments, and we'll see you again for part 2 of the rolling stock of the Highland Valley Railway. Bye for now.